Let's go back to our conversation now with Volker Von Widdern from Riskonet Africa, talking to us about the many risks that lie ahead if our issues with water and how it is managed is not nipped in the bud as soon as possible. Volker, when we started our conversation, we were talking about the many risks that lie ahead if this is not fixed, and that if serious risks that are at play right now aren't identified. And you speak about a need to enhance demand-side analysis and related capacity of the infrastructure and address any operational inefficiency and ensure timely maintenance. Even to me, that all makes sense. Why is this not being done?
I can't speak for the departments, but I think it was very clear when Rand Water was saying they're producing enough bulk water, but that there's insufficient getting through to the final users. And if a reservoir runs dry that is supporting a hospital, then one knows that there are mistakes in demand-side management. And therefore, the continuity and risk assessment of the hospital and the water and the supply all need a lot more attention. So if one looks at that, it's not really difficult to build a new reservoir and to double up capacity in that space, because they are simple, they can be located quite quickly, and the capacity to produce the water is in place. So I think from those points of view, there's significant gaps about demand side that could have been addressed earlier, and they can be addressed in the next year or two. And obviously, when one thinks about population movements and densification of population, these are all logical things that can be planned for.
Another logical thing that could be planned for is maintenance, and we know this is it's almost an open secret that we've got a major issue in terms of leaking in the system. I think the national percentage is something like 50% of water pumped into the water system nationally is lost because of leaking, and that speaks to day-to-day running of these various departments that are supposed to be looking after our water system.
Agreed. And I think whenever we talk about risk, we also talk about standards. Now, if we believe that there are leaks, and there are leaks, it's very simple in measurement terms. If 5 megalitres are coming in per day, per whatever, and only 4 billion or otherwise are being billed, we know there's a shortage. Then you look at the shortage by a major trunking system and you identify where the biggest leaks are and you focus on that. There's an enormous amount of technology available now where you can identify where the leaks are and prioritize where you're going to do something about them. So the standard of identifying the leaks, prioritizing the response, and making sure that a program of action goes through that is not being done. The upside of fixing the leaks is that you sell more water. So it seems really unfathomable that you wouldn't want to fix the leaks and sell more water and give more money to the council. But these are the situations where issues aren't getting the right level of attention and they're not being given a structured response. And these are all measurable criteria where a standard program can be put in place to fix them.
Well, there was a statement sent out by the water authorities on Sunday pointing to what we spoke about earlier, about them saying that the problems with the water situation at the moment is because of overuse by consumers. And if that is not the case, it also speaks to there being an issue on communication between these water authorities and its users on the other end. What are we running the risk of happening there if we also can't believe the information that's being given to us by these important authorities?
I agree that there has been, and there must have been, a higher use, because we realized we had a hot early start to the spring and these things happen. But usage should also be managed, in my view, in terms of the pressure. And I know there have been soft kinds of pressure regulations that have already been put in. But if we've got reservoirs that are getting down to 25 and 30%, surely you don't start saying you've got a problem when it's at zero. You have a problem at a particular danger level at, call it 30%. And if that reservoir is feeding a hospital, you are very obligated to make sure the hospital keeps getting some water, and not through tankers, but through decent distribution. So in that context, the planning and scheduling of capacity and making sure that you're reserving sufficient water to feed a hospital is part of a water distribution model. And these kind of things shouldn't go wrong. They shouldn't become surprises. But if you let a reservoir run dry, that's not very good management.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time. Volker Von Widdern is from Riskonet Africa, speaking to us virtually from here in Johannesburg. We thank him for his time this evening.